Hey neighbors, how's it going? Real quick, we're going to go over basically what all the stats mean on a unit, just so you can have a clear understanding. So, for example, we're going to use these elite Magi archers here. So, if we got the information screen up, and when you're in combat, you can press I to pull this up. We're going to go over this unit. So, right here, this shows this is a tier 4 unit. It's weight class medium. So the weight class basically gives you an understanding, like light units are going to be light armored fast, medium are going to be at balance, heavy are going to be slow, heavy armor durable units. Just gives you like a good summary of what the unit can do. Over here is the health, like entity and unit size. Entity is the amount of models that are within each unit. So there's 120 entities, so 120 soldiers in each one of these cards. And their health is 9,600. So that 9,600 is divided by 120. Therefore, so if you take 9,600 divided by 120, that gives you the health amount for each unit. Also up here is our upkeep cost. So this unit requires 190 food, 21 bronze, upkeep per turn. And then also there's an administration cost, that being 2. Administration cost applies to your administration tier, and as you build up in administration, things cost more. Kind of like supply lines from other Total War titles. Alright, let's go further down here. We're going to cover armor. So armor works in the way of reducing damage by a specific percentage. I don't have the exact percentage pulled up here, but the more armor you have, the more damage you're able to resist. Also, with the new lethality system, which will go more in depth later down the road, it also reduces the chance of lethality proccing against your unit. Also, in the armor part is typically where they will show shielded or not. If there is a shield, there's 3 sections of it. This small circular one is just a light shield. That means it'll block 30% fire. If there's also medium, which blocks 55%. And then you also have heavy that blocks 75% of all missile fire from the front. So making it that you really need to use your archers to get on the sides of those units to get the maximum damage. Morale is kind of like leadership in other Total War titles. Excuse me. So basically this is how long your unit's going to stay in the fight. There's different things affecting morale, like debuffs, whether your generals died, if you're getting flanked, and the lower this is, the quicker you're going to flee and run. So you really want high morale, especially with your frontline units, so that they can stay and hold the fight, so you can get in range of archers or cycle charge those chariots into the back line. Speed, self-explanatory. It tells you how fast a unit is. 37 speed, that's decently fast for a unit. Really fast for a unit is like 42 and above. Once you start getting to like the 60s, that's more like cavalry and chariots. Melee attack. So melee attack measures how well you're able to actually land a hit. So there's a calculation done when one of your models initiates a hit, and it calculates whether that hit actually lands. Excuse me. So typically, your melee attack has to be, it's typically better if it's higher than the enemy's melee defense, but if it's lower than their melee defense, it doesn't mean it's never going to hit, it just reduces the amount of time it's actually going to hit. Also, melee attack, if your attacks land a hit, it will also apply the chance for lethality, which will go more in depth once we get to damage. Melee defense is the opposite of melee attack. It basically governs how well you're actually able to completely block a melee attack. So having a good high melee defense is going to really help you on not taking damage and also reducing the chance of getting a lethality hit on your unit. Alright, damage. So with different units, there's like different factors that go into the damage. So your melee damage is just a flat damage piece. So it's going to do 35 damage flat if it has 0 armor, and then that damage is reduced by a percentage amount depending on that unit's armor. Armor piercing melee damage, so that does damage no matter what their armor is. That's the amount of damage that's going to cut right through there. So it's very important in game with all the units being armored. Bonus versus large makes it that you do 8 more damage against large units. Also gives you 8 more attack when dealing with large units. Same goes with shields. 4 more attack against shielded units and 4 more damage when going against shielded units. That's kind of like your sort of anti-infantry one. Melee lethality. Let's discuss lethality real quick. 10%. So lethality is a new system for Pharaoh Dynasties introduced, and I really enjoy it. So basically, that 10% represents upon landing a hit, you got to land the hit, and there's a calculation depending on the unit's armor. The more armor that unit has, the reduced chance of lethality. You have a base chance of 10%, and it calculates against that unit's armor. You have a chance of instantly killing that unit. So bypassing the armor or the amount of health uses is instant kill. So this gets really strong when fighting a unit as they get tired, their armor starts breaking, and that lethality really starts clicking in, and you're able to really break that morale. So I really love the system. I think it's really awesome and makes you more wary on flanks and charging and archers. Alright, charge bonus. So you wouldn't use this for archers, but if you charge with archers, that goes wrong. You'll typically use it for like chariots or actual charging melee infantry. So what this does is when a unit initiates attack, it will do a charging animation and smack against that unit. So it increases their damage. It also increases their damage by a drastic amount, typically I think 27% for about 10 to 13 seconds. I don't have the exact value here, but increases that damage, makes it that they're easier to land hits on that unit. Really good for charging that back line here. So typically with units with high charge bonus, you have them hit that back line, and then once that 10 to 13 seconds, depending on which game you're playing, is over with, you pull them out of there to go cycle charge right back. Hammer and anvil, just hitting that back line until eventually they decide to run. Ammunition, self-explanatory, amount of ammo you have for your missile weapon. 26 is a decent amount. Most javelin units will have like 7, archers are like 18 to like 20 something. You can get that even higher. Range, self-explanatory, how far away the range unit can initiate its action. Missile damage, kind of like melee damage. The base missile damage does damage to them, but it's reduced based on the armor that that unit has. Armor piercing missile damage is damage that's always done. Accuracy, whether that is actually going to hit, so it's the melee attack for missiles. Reload time, how often a barrage is going to go, and then the range lethality. And there is kind of an archer meta in this game, simply because when a melee unit is fighting another unit, not all their entities are engaging at the same time, but when a ranged unit is engaging an enemy, all of their entities are attacking at the same time, so you have more potential for lethality to actually do damage, especially with the buffs I got at 22%. It's really crazy here. Alright, discussing that. And then a lot of different units have different abilities that will be displayed down here. For example, this Magi Archer has flanking attack approved, so they'll be able to increase his melee defense penalty when the unit is attacking another unit in the flank or rear. Encourage, morale bonus to neighbor allies, unit within range of both the general's aura and encouraging unit will receive the larger of the 2 bonuses. They're able to hide. Discipline, they don't suffer morale penalties from the general dying, so they'll actually stay missile resistance if they're able to resist missiles from any direction. Also, there's like typically like really good combat bonuses. Steadfast units reduce morale penalties, and then a lot of these units will have ignores a portion of the enemy's armor when calculating lethality chance. So that 22% is pretty close to 22 because they can ignore most of the armor. Different abilities like being able to hold if something has like a phalanx wall, that sort of stuff. Like this unit has aim true, increases their accuracy at the price of range or reload time. Or they have rapid fire where it decreases the range but also decreases reload time, so they're able to get more shots out. So that's a kind of a basic summary of all the stats do. I know I went pretty quick with it, but that's the sheer basics to all of it. If you have any further questions, just let me know in the comments. I'm willing to able to teach you, and if you have any other pertinent information, if you want to learn about different systems throughout the game, just let me know. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, come be my neighbor.